So I know you got to get in there quick, so two quick questions. I loved Eric, and I can't help but find sort of parallels in the nature of a complicated, father-child relationship. Do you find that there were sort of that parallel going into this film when you were shooting Eric, or vice versa?
No, not at all. Very different cultures, very different people. He's a very insular, complex, fragile Brit who's not very outwardly expressive of his emotions and starts to come apart at the seams. So the flare-ups is changes in mood and the temperature of relationships and the testing of him as he kind of slowly becomes unraveled is very new to him. There's the obvious thing of something being made real from someone's imagination, someone's experience of something, but it's held as an entity that's not just haunting him and then very, very, very present in that flat. It's also in the children's experience as well. So that makes it different from this sort of relationship with Eric. There were some odd moments, like the guy operating the crow in this was called Eric, and I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. But yeah, they're two very different subject matters, and I think,
Well, I'm really excited to see how it's explored in there. And then for my final question, I love that you're proud to produce this film. I'd love to hear...
You haven't seen it, have you? So you'll see. It's very, very different. So it's very easy to make a headline out of the similar things. But
but I'd love to hear what it was about this film that not only spoke, or the book, I should say, that not only spoke to you to want to star in it, but produce it.
Well, it's just a startling original novel. It's just the most formally playful, inventive, and kind of unique way of expressing something that's, I think, in the milieu of a middle-class, middle-aged Brit is quite locked away sometimes, and he found, Max Porter, the novelist, found this amazing kind of metaphor through Ted Hughes's poems and this academic session with them. And you slowly realise in the book that it's all really about the boys. It's an unreliable narration. It's about their memory of what happened to their father and what it felt like being around this man who was obsessed with the Crow collection of poems at the time. And with our version, Dylan had the masterstroke of making. I mean, he's a really big graphic novel fan, so I helped, but making my character, Dad, a illustrator, an artist who's bringing out this book inspired by the Crow series of poems. So that's an immediate extrapolation between that being tactile and realisable on the page to being something in the room. And I don't know where that answer started. Jet lag. Yeah, but anyway, it was amazing. It was amazing to play with that in real time. And everyone's saying, two children who've never acted before, a man in a crow costume, and a 21st century. There's a lot of stuff to a lot of noise to separate from, or interplay with, but make believable to the integrity or authenticity of what you're trying to do emotionally. And that was challenging, but that's why I get out of bed in the morning. I like a challenge.
Well, congratulations on getting through that challenge and bringing it here to Sundance. We all can't wait to watch it.
Cool, thank you.
Absolutely. Very excited to be chatting with you for The Thing with Feathers. I'm really excited to get in there and watch it as well. So what was it about Max's book that really drew you to want to adapt it for the screen?
I read it 10 years ago. It's been 10 years to get from first reading the book to today. And I'd never read a book that dealt with the subjects of grief in a way that was quite so honest and quite so strange and idiosyncratic and not sentimental, but somehow really, really moving. So I was blown away by the book, and I was just wasn't sure how we would make it into a film, but I knew that it was a challenge that was very interesting to me, and here we are.
So with that said, then, what did you find was one of the big keys for you to sort of unlocking how to best adapt this for the screen?
It was a process, really. The book's really unusual. It's written from three different perspectives. It's a mixture of prose and poetry. It uses different tenses. It spans multiple years. It's not an obvious translation to a movie story. So I think it was, embracing all of those things and realizing that I could kind of take it wherever I wanted to was the thing that unlocked it. And also the support of Max. Max, didn't have to option the book to me, but he did. He was always there, as much or as little as I needed him. In the end, he was blown away by the first draft and just kept me going, really. He's a really good collaborator. Really kind of yeah, so good to have him on side.
Sounds like a really dream experience for you, and again, I can't wait to see how it all turns out. And speaking of support, before I let you go further down the line, I'd love to hear about working with Benedict, not only as an actor, but also through Sunny March. What was it like sort of having that dual support from him in this film?
It was amazing. You know, I've made documentaries before. This is my first dramatic feature, so I was, you know, to make my first feature with an actor of his caliber, I was kind of like, am I going to, you know, meet up to his expectations? You know, he's worked with some huge directors before, but he was absolutely amazing. He supported me, and he was supportive of my vision. You know, Sunny March's involvement meant that he had a vested interest in it, and it was a really, really great collaboration. You know, all of my nerves about working with someone who had so much more experience than me were gone. We just talked as two humans about this project that we were working on together, and yeah, it was a dream collaboration, really.
That's. I hope you have that in future films as well. And again, I know I keep saying it, but I truly am excited. Like, ever since I read about this film, I was like, this is going to be intriguing. So thank you very much for taking the time. I appreciate it.